I'm Craig Brelsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with executives of two public companies. First up is Obook Holdings Inc. Obook Holdings, operating as OWLS Group, is a blockchain technology company providing compliance-first settlement payments and digital asset rails for enterprises and individual users worldwide. Their mission is to build stablecoin infrastructure for the future. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Up next is Anixa Biosciences Incorporated. Anixa is a biotechnology company focused on the treatment and prevention of cancer. Anixa's therapeutics portfolio consists of a cancer immunotherapy program which uses a novel type of CAR T, known as chimeric endocrine receptor T cell, or CER-T technology. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small-cap stock analysis.
A new era of small-cap research has arrived with RedChip's RedChat, the fastest, most accurate AI assistant for small caps. The days of spending hours sifting through press releases, 10Ks, 10Qs, 8Ks, 13Fs, 13Gs, and other filings is over. Now, get answers in seconds on 4,000 small-cap stocks in one portal. Simple, fast, accurate, detailed answers. Meet small caps with RedChat.
Now, let's move on to our quote of the week. It comes from the book, Small Stocks, Big Money. Invest in something you can get your arms around and be very conservative. Own enough stock so that you are not putting all your eggs in one basket. This quote comes from Dave Maley of Ariel Discovery Fund, and it is featured in Chapter 5 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $21. Now, let's get started with our first interview today with Obook Holdings. Hi, today we have Darren Wang, the founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Obook Holdings Incorporated, trading on the NASDAQ under the ticker OWLS. Darren, welcome back to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Really good, thanks. OWLS, building the rails for global payments. Now, Darren, for investors new to the story, what problem are you solving that traditional banking infrastructure hasn't been able to fix?
Yeah, so very good question. So right now, if you want to do international payment, you need to either go to the bank or using PayPal, which is a legacy platform for a while. Yeah, but with the born for blockchain technology and stablecoin, we are trying to put those two technologies together, using stablecoin as a stable currency and settle with the blockchain network. So that's pretty much the vision that we want to build. And we want to make the international payment as easy as like you're sending the WhatsApp message, to your friend, your family. So that's the bigger picture for the company.
Interesting. You want to make it as simple as sending a WhatsApp message. Something to keep in mind there, Darren. Great way to put it. You've invested heavily in regulatory licenses across the United States, Japan, and Europe. Now, how does that translate into a competitive moat and barrier to entry?
Yeah, so when we just started to build a business, we realized that since you are in the money business, so putting safety in people's heart is very important. So the first important topic will be the license, right? So we started by applying for the license starting from US because US has the most advanced regulatory attitude toward the new technology. Yeah, so after we spent about almost 4 years, we have achieved over 40 money transmitter license in US. And then during the same time, we are also applying for the license in Japan and also the license in Europe and other regions actually. So right now we have the license in US for over 40 states, the license in Japan, and there's actually 3 licenses in Japan we need to acquire in order to operate the stablecoin settlement business. So we are also working with our investor, SBI Holdings, in the Japanese market to accelerate the speed. Also, Europe, we got the VESP license, and also in the process to upgrading to the EMI license and then the new CASP. Yeah, so everything is changing very fast. But I think the most important, issue that we want to solve is the regulatory trust between people and the company. We know we want to build the trust first, and then bring in the technology second.
Now, your platform, it has already processed more than $110 million in payment volume with double-digit growth. What does that tell investors about real-world adoption?
Yeah, I think the number is a little bit lower. Yeah. So if my memory is right, I think it's close to $300 million from the payment gateway from Taiwan. But for the stablecoin payment transaction volume, I think it's actually much larger than just taking a look at the stablecoin, not that the payment gateway business in Taiwan. Yeah, so I think in the near future we are forecasting to process billions of dollars easily because for all the pipeline and the client we already signed, we see a lot of traction between U.S. to other countries like U.S. to Latin America, and U.S. to Africa, U.S. to Asia. So I think there's billions-dollar transaction, particularly when people trying to find a solution between the traditional banking payment and then the cross-border payment using the new technology.
Now, global payments, it is a multi-trillion dollar market and it is undergoing, of course, transformation with what you said, stable coins increasingly being used for settlement rather than trading. How big is the addressable opportunity, Darren, for Alting?
Yeah, I think that's $1 trillion market, of course. Yeah, but in order to achieve the scale, I think the first one is you need to build really good fundamental for the technology, right? So the technology involve, for example, your partner. So we actually, working with Visa to bring the stablecoin technology to everyone. Yeah, and then with the cooperation with Visa, we also bring in Circle as our partner. So we are using Circle payment network to settle the money from USDC to different bank account or debit card in over 100 countries. Yeah, so combining those two technology and with the existing financial giant, I think that's the fastest way to bring the new technology to everyone.
Okay, you mentioned Visa and Circle. Could you talk more about what's going on with those relationships, Darren?
Yeah, so right now people is very having trouble to get a stable coin. So we work with Visa to turn everyone's Visa debit card so you can easily enter your card number and buy the stable coin. And once you have the stable coin, you can our platform will using Circle payment network to settle the money to over 100 countries. So that's basically working with Visa to bring the stablecoin for everyone. And then when the money becomes stablecoin, you can travel to global easily.
Now, your model, it emphasizes recurring settlement flows rather than one-time transactions. What does that mean for revenues, and at what scale do you expect the business to reach sustained profitability?
I think the benefit for this business is it's a solid need for every 2 weeks or every month. If you are sending the money back to your family, right, it's going to be every month, not just one time, right? So that's the recurring business, and even the business you are sending the money to your supplier, your counterparties, right? So it's going to be recurrent revenue and transaction, and I think for our company because our burn rate is really low. Yeah, so to achieve profitability, I think we can just as long as we reach about $4 to $6 billion, then company will become profitable. Yeah, so I think it's not a very a big goal for the company, but I think the business model is actually well designed for recurring and then sustainability business.
Darren, final question. What is the essential value proposition? Why should investors take an interest in Owlting today?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things important the company is building. The first one is trust. So we build the trust with regulatory globally. That's the first one. And second is we are one of the first mover in the space. So we bring the real transaction for people and business. And third one is we are a public company. So everyone can see our financial result, every half year right now, and then we're becoming quarterly in the coming year. Yeah, so we are very confident to bring the future of money movement technology to everyone globally.
Great to hear the story again, Darren. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
To get more information on Obook Holdings, visit owlsinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Obook Holdings. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order your copy of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book written by RedChip's CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy on Amazon today for just $21. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small cap stock analysis.
A new era of small cap research has arrived with RedChip's RedChat, the fastest, most accurate AI assistant for small caps. The days of spending hours sifting through press releases, 10Ks, 10Qs, 8Ks, 13Fs, 13Gs, and other filings is over. Now, get answers in seconds on 4,000 small cap stocks in one portal. Simple, fast, accurate, detailed answers. Meet small caps with RedChat.
Now, let's move on to our next interview today with Anixa Biosciences. Hello, today we have Dr. Amit Kumar, the chairman and CEO of Anixa Biosciences, trading on the NASDAQ under the ticker ANIX. Amit, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Craig, for having me.
Anixa's breast cancer vaccine targets alpha-lactalbumin, a protein linked to triple-negative breast cancer. What problem is this vaccine designed to solve, and why could that be such an important opportunity?
Well, the vaccine is designed to be therapeutic, meaning it will target breast cancer in women who are battling breast cancer at the time. But the long-term vision is for this to be a preventative or prophylactic vaccine, meaning we'll give it to all women who are worried about breast cancer while they're healthy to prevent future breast cancer. So the goal here one day is to be able to give this vaccine to hundreds of millions to even billions of women that will eventually prevent breast cancer. And we think we might be able to eliminate the majority of breast cancers, sort of like we've done for infectious diseases like polio and smallpox.
Fascinating. Your phase 1 study met its main goals and helped move the program forward towards phase 2. Now, what did these results tell you, and why do they matter?
Well, two key results were very important. One is that the vaccine was found to be safe. The only side effect any of the patients had was irritation at the sites of injection. And the safety issue is incredibly important, because if you're going to give this vaccine to millions, or if not billions, of people, women who are healthy at the time, to prevent breast cancer, it's got to be rock solid safe. And then the other key finding was that a large percentage, three-quarters of the women, had an immune response. What that means is that their immune systems were interacting with the vaccine in a way that the immune systems were learning how to destroy cancer cells. So those two specific findings, as well as some other minor findings, enable us to go to phase 2 studies, which we hope to begin in about a year.
The program was developed with the Cleveland Clinic and supported by U.S. Department of Defense funding. How important are these relationships in validating the science?
Both of these relationships are incredibly important. The technology was actually invented at the Cleveland Clinic. And in 2018, we partnered with Cleveland Clinic to take the vaccine from where it was at that time in the laboratory to human testing. And now we've completed the phase 1. And the US Department of Defense funded that whole phase 1. US DoD has some money to fund breakthrough medical research, and they chose this program to fund, and they provided a research grant to the Cleveland Clinic that enabled us to complete the phase 1 study.
Triple negative breast cancer. It is one of the most aggressive forms of the disease. Now, could any woman in the world take the drug that you're developing? Basically, how big could the market opportunity be if the vaccine is successful?
That's a really good question, and it's actually a little bit difficult to answer. The vaccine is designed to treat women who get breast cancer, and there are several 100,000 women in the U.S. and several million out, internationally, that get breast cancer. So all of those women could be eligible. But our long-term vision is that this could be given to all healthy women who are worried about getting breast cancer. And so that market opportunity is in the billions. I should say billions of patients. So I even hesitate to talk about how large that market opportunity could be in numbers, because it almost sounds ridiculous. But in principle, it could be as big a market as any other vaccine that is given to pretty much all healthy individuals who want to take it.
Well, that is extremely exciting. And another exciting part of the program is, as you were mentioning, the potential to prevent cancer before it even starts. How could that change the way breast cancer is treated?
I think it would just have an incredible societal impact. Infectious disease vaccines have eliminated some of the greatest scourges to mankind, like polio and smallpox. We want to do that same to breast cancer initially, and then other types of cancer eventually. The medical system in the United States and worldwide spends a tremendous amount of money treating breast cancer. And even though we as a society have become very good at keeping women alive who get breast cancer, getting breast cancer and treating it is a brutal process. Even though we can keep you alive, it's not a fun process to go through. So wouldn't it be better to just take 3 shots, which is what the vaccine is comprised of, and never have to worry about breast cancer in the future? That's what we want to do. My vision is one day when we can take vaccines for not only breast cancer but other cancers, the primary cancers, and eliminate cancer as a disease, or the majority of cancers as a disease. It would be something that would be tremendously beneficial to society.
As if all that were not enough, Amit, you've also got a therapy. You're advancing a CAR T therapy for ovarian cancer. How should investors think about the value of having both programs in development?
Well, in general, when you're a biotech company, you want multiple shots on goal. So we have those 2 shots that are already in clinical testing, but we've got a whole bunch more in the preclinical stage, in the laboratory stage, that we hope to bring into human testing eventually. The ovarian cancer CAR T is a new type of immunotherapy that has done amazing things for leukemias and lymphomas, but has not been very successful for solid tumors like ovarian cancer. But we've designed a unique approach to dealing with ovarian cancer that we think will save the lives of terminally ill ovarian cancer patients. We've only treated 12 patients, actually 13 patients now with that therapy, and we've extended their life expectancy dramatically, a large number of those patients. These are patients that have failed everything else and have been given about median life expectancy of 12 weeks. But we've been able to extend their lives dramatically over a year, in some cases over 2.5 years. We've not yet cured anyone, but as we go to higher dosages, we hope to be able to show that we can cure some of these patients, if not all.
Final question, Amit, and it is an important one. What is the essential value proposition, and what should investors be looking out for in the next 12 to 18 months?
That's a really good question, Craig. I think looking out for the next 12 to 18 months, investors should look out for additional clinical trial data, which will drive the value of the company. In fact, life-saving data, especially in phase 2 for our breast cancer vaccine, is typically when inflection points occur in valuation for companies like, development stage companies like ours. And going forward, I think the important thing to note about our company is that people don't know us. We're relatively young. We were initially an electronics company that converted into a biotech company when I took over 7 or 8 years ago. And going forward, I think the data is going to be what's going to drive the value of the company. And we want people to know about this breast cancer vaccine trial. We want people to be aware of it, not only as investors, but also as patients. Patients need to know about this because this is something that could be utilized for millions to hundreds of millions of patients sometime in the future.
It is a fascinating and inspiring story. Thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, Craig, for having me.
To get more information on Anixa Biosciences, visit anixa.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Anixa Biosciences. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order your copy of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book written by RedChip's CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy on Amazon today for just $21. Now, let's recap the companies featured today. First, you met Obook Holdings Inc, OWLS, on the NASDAQ. Obook Holdings, operating as OWLS Group, is a blockchain technology company providing compliance-first settlement, payments, and digital asset rails for enterprises and individual users worldwide. Their mission is to build stablecoin infrastructure for the future. Learn more at owlsinfo.com. Then you met Anixa Biosciences Incorporated, ANIX, on the NASDAQ. Anixa is a biotechnology company focused on the treatment and prevention of cancer. Anixa's therapeutics portfolio consists of a cancer immunotherapy program which uses a novel type of CAR-T, known as chimeric endocrine receptor T-cell, or CER-T technology. Learn more at anixa.com. Don't forget to check out our stocks page. It is the biggest small-cap stock portal in the industry. It has every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange with market caps of $2 billion and less. And it's categorized by industry. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in those companies, so please always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting, emerging growth companies.
RedChip. We build investor audiences for small cap companies, retail and institutional. 33 years, thousands of clients. We are experts in messaging. National TV ad campaigns, investor webinars, digital media, reaching hundreds of thousands of investors. RedChip. We do it well, we do it right, we do it big. RedChip. Call us or email us today.